We're back. I'm sure you expected to hear from us this Friday. If you didn't, then you haven't been following us, because we are on season number 2, episode number 30. This One Time in Real Estate. And title it. What's the title going to be?
I actually wrote the title down. Go the Extra Mile. So we're going to talk about it.
Go the Extra Mile. I mean, I love it. Very cliche, but I don't exactly know in what terms you're talking about. Let's go.
Yeah. So, okay. So, imagine, I know you've been in this situation. We've all been in this situation. So, you're at dinner. This just happened to us, and we were talking with our friends about it. You're at dinner, and it's a Saturday night. So, I'm expecting that it's going to be busy. I'm expecting that I'm going to have a more, leisurely meal. So, I'm okay with the fact that I may be waiting a little while. I want that. I actually want to just enjoy myself. And so you're there. And,
so you're out to dinner?
Correct. You're out to dinner. And imagine you're out to dinner. Same type of, so it was my husband and I and a couple.
Okay.
We're out to dinner at a great restaurant near where I live.
Which one? Let's give a promo.
We were at Bartolino's.
Bartolino's, okay.
Yeah. And in this case. And, but I feel like we've been eating out quite a bit. So, but that's about this. So anyway, so we're at Bartolino's. And we know it's going to be, but they have music. They have music on Saturdays, just busy. And there's a lot of people, and their waiters are just hustling. And so we were prepared to wait, and we were just enjoying ourselves. It's fine. And then you get to that point, and
did you have reservations or no reservations?
We did not have reservations.
So walk-in.
Correct. Yep. And weirdly enough, they gave us VIPs. We had, in my opinion, we had the best seat in the whole place for the music, because we were on the bar side, if you know what I'm referring to. But anyway, so we get to the point in the waiting where we're like, okay, this seems like you get, and everybody may have a different point. It was funny because all 4 of us got to that point collectively, because we were committed. Our drinks were still good, so that's always a thing, when does everybody get to that point? Probably if my drink was empty, I may get there quicker, but everything seems fine. But we all get to the point where we're like, that's okay. Now it feels like we've waited a little while. And so at that moment, though, weirdly, our waiter came over and he's like, guys, I know, I apologize that it's been a little bit longer than we typically do. We actually had an issue in the kitchen. I actually ended up had to jump in for a minute. He's like, it's not at all like us to have a wait like this. I sincerely apologize, but we'll get you your food real soon. Again, I'm so sorry.
So you're seated now.
We were at our table. We were enjoying our drinks. So, we had ordered our food, and we were waiting. Okay,
so you just happened to be near the music, but it wasn't like you were waiting at the bar.
Correct. No. We were at our table.
Perfect.
Great table. And so we were like, great, we'll be here all night. We can hang here all night. And then it was like, okay, what's happening? So he came over, he addressed it. He handled it head on. And so our friends were saying, you know what's funny? We were at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, somewhat similar situation. We were seated. We put in our order. We knew we were probably going to have to wait a little bit. No big deal. We were relaxed. And it just weirdly, it took way longer than we thought. And our waitress, it was obvious she knew we were getting a little bit frustrated, what's going on, and she didn't ever come up and address it. She hid from it. And so then this gentleman at ours this past weekend we were there, he came and he's like, I gave you a coupon for the next time you come again, I'm so sorry. And you're just he freaking went the extra mile. And there's going to be people in your life that always go the extra mile. And you know what? We will probably never use that stupid coupon, because I always forget coupons. I put them in my purse. I don't know where they are. But I will come there. I love that place anyway, but it could have been an experience where we're not coming back. This is silly. But I will come there more than ever now, and I will request that waiter because of the way he handled what could have been an unfortunate situation and just completely smoothed it over. And he just went the extra mile. And I think in a lot of cases it's the opposite.
And I love that. The other thing that I'm hearing, though, is that he was, I don't know if it'd be vulnerable, but he actually just tackled the issue. Mm-hmm. He didn't run from the issue. The waitress that you were referring to, she knew your friend's discomfort, but didn't tackle it, probably because it's uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly.
She maybe doesn't like conflict.
Right.
But it's an interesting segue. Did you come up with this today or because after our coaching call or no?
No.
Because we had a coaching call today. And were you on?
No.
Oh, with Brian Danny?
Oh, no, I was not
Okay,
on.
no problem. Because Brian, one of our real estate coaches, is talking about communication. So I brought up that we're seeing that like one word can impact a deal. So, for example, some of the psychology of our agents that are on the list side right now, if it's not at asking or over, they think it's a low offer. That can set the wrong tone if you discuss that with your seller and say, we got a low offer, I'll give it to you, in the next few minutes, right?
Correct.
So one word. So Brian is telling a story today about how every word matters and tackling it. So it's so ironic that you weren't on because he's in San Diego. He's heading to LA for a family event.
Okay.
He has a client that wants to take a look at the house. He has it all buttoned up. He's going to show the house. If there maybe is a second showing that then he'll rush to show it. He thought he had it completely buttoned up, everything.
Yeah.
He gets a call while he's in LA that same day from the agent. And the agent said, your client is very upset because she can't get a hold of you and I want to know as an agent on the other side, what's going on?
Yeah.
So we asked the question to our team, and he thought he had it totally buttoned up. So we asked the question to our team today.
Okay.
How would you respond? So somebody on our team says they call the individual and I understand that you're upset. Tell me about that, right? Somebody else says something somewhat similar. Okay? He takes an entire different approach. I am so sorry that you could not get a hold of me.
Right.
I know this is really important to you, and I wasn't available for you when you needed me, even though I want you to know that I'm absolutely available. He took the approach. It was interesting while some of our agents were taking the approach, getting into curiosity. Why are you frustrated?
Sure.
No, he tackled it straight like your waiter. He went straight into it and just said, I am sorry. See, most of us aren't going to be vulnerable or whatever your waiter was, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was so interesting when I said, and it's all related,
Right.
but when I asked you, were you on today? Because that's exactly, he went straight in. Now, by the way, I didn't know. I asked him out of curiosity, what was the price point of that? $3.5 million. The difference between, and he said, if you would have gone at a different approach, conversation's done. Your relationship is done.
Oh, sure.
Why are you upset? I didn't realize I did this. I stayed in to be with you, and actually, no, totally, he loses the deal.
Right.
I mean, I asked how much just because I was curious and knowing it was probably a good deal.
Sure.
But $3.5 million commission is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
By being vulnerable. So it's so, and again, everything, it's so funny because how you do one thing is how you do everything. One of your stories can relate to another story. I mean, everything in life is interrelated because they're the same lessons.
Right.
Your waiter takes a great approach the same way Brian took a great approach. I am sorry.
Yeah.
I am sorry that I wasn't available for you when you needed me. I want you to know, number one, that won't happen again from a standpoint of you can get a hold of me.
Right.
Now, many people, many agents are going to be frustrated, like, how could you be upset? But that's unfortunately part of our job. Now, there is expectations. When you answer a phone call late, then they can call you're giving them permission. You're going to have to decide how to run the business, but he ran in that. Makes sense?
Yeah, and I think of all the opportunities that we as agents have to want to get defensive or not to own something or not to be vulnerable, because there's so many nuances to what we do every day. And our clients, if we're not communicating effectively, there's so much that can be lost in translation, as we know. And so it's like, always, if you can just go to them and be upfront and be transparent and say, okay, how are we feeling? What are you, just go. It's so easy to say, ooh, I don't want to make this call. Whew. But then when you've made it, how much better typically you feel getting it off your plate, but also typically think about how the client probably feels if you took the time to make the call or to say, hey, let's get together and go through this. I think that with the way the industry is changing, I think personal touch and relationships and going the extra mile is going to make all the difference in ultimately your career as an agent.
Are you a mind reader?
Yeah, no, maybe to your mind. I don't know.
It's so funny because I just was going to ask you, have you ever had an experience where you actually got anxious about having to make a call, but yet you actually ate the frog, which we've talked about, made that call, and you're like, dang, that really wasn't as bad as I worked up. I've had some things in my mind worked up to literally, I'm going to get killed.
Yeah.
Like, killed.
Yep.
And obviously, I'm being extreme, but that's how anxious I was, where I was sick to my stomach to make that call. And you're like, what the hell? Did they hear me on the other phone, what I just said? Because the way they reacted and my expectation of the reaction, which shame on me, I maybe identified how they would react.
Totally. Well, because it's so difficult because your mind is playing tricks on you a lot of the time. That's what we forget. Your mind is acting as a self-protecting mechanism. So if there's something you're afraid of, the mind is saying, yeah, you don't need to do that then. Like, it's trying to protect you, but it's not your friend. You want to say, no, I need to do it. Let me just get it over with. Like, I don't need you protecting me. Like, I know ultimately this is going to be in my best interest, but don't always fall prey to the self-protective mechanism inside your brain that's like, stay in your comfort zone, don't do that. And I think the interesting thing is I've seen you over the years. Mark's always the first one when you're like, I have this issue. Get him on the phone. And you're like, oh, okay, I wasn't ready yet, but like, just do it. As long as you ultimately know what's happening. Don't call them if you don't even know what's going on yet. That's probably not the best thing to do. Get your bearings, understand the situation, but you gotta just go for it. You gotta go there. You gotta make the call.
And I love your go the extra mile, but I'm actually going to compress it a little bit. It's not even, we're going to be extreme on the title, go the extra mile, but quite frankly, some of this is like, go the extra 100 yards. Like, the difference that you have to do and the results the results could be miles apart, but like what you actually have to do isn't always that far apart, that hard.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting. So I think it's an awesome story. I think it's great to hear you had a great experience, and you compare and contrast, or your friend was able to. All she had to do was X, just like he did. He tackled it, made it a good experience. He was transparent, like I'm slammed. By the way, I don't know if it always works that way, because I'm transparent a lot where I'm like, I'm slammed. And by the way, not everybody cares. There will be people that says, that's not my problem. But at the end of the day, he was honest. I'm having to work in the kitchen a little bit. You appreciate it because you know hard work too.
Yeah.
I think spoiled entitlement people may be a little bit frustrated, but somebody like you who understands, runs a business, you get it.
Right. Well, and I think it's funny because if you think of from a business perspective, he's ultimately interviewing for our business on behalf of the restaurant that he works for. And so his job is to make us happy, keep us coming back, keep us wanting to, be a patron of that restaurant. Our agent's job is obviously they're representing the Gelman team. They're interviewing for business every day. So the more that they go the extra mile, the more positive impact it has on the organization, the more obviously we let the market know who we are. And so it's a ripple effect. So I think when people look at the big picture of things, you realize you're so much bigger than maybe what you even think you are. And by doing one thing, going that extra mile or a couple 100 feet, whatever, you are impacting the organization for the better for potentially years to. I mean, it's so much bigger than just one thing.
100%. And it's not. And if you want to even take it a little more granular than the whole organization, your own business.
Right.
I mean, you as an agent, although you're not producing today, you have built lifelong relationships, referrals, and a reputation based on your performance, but more so your service.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, what people minimize is the collateral impact of the experience, good or bad.
Totally.
And how that continues down the line. Go that extra mile.
Do it.
I'm proud of you going that extra mile. We're going to wrap this up. Call it a day.